Hello, astrology enthusiasts. I am Hannah, evolutionary astrologer. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you've seen one of my videos before, welcome back. Let's talk about this upcoming full moon on May 31st happening in Sagittarius. And more specifically, this full moon is happening at the ninth degree of Sagittarius. So what you see on the screen is actually this chart of the full moon. So look at the symbol of the moon right opposite the symbol of the sun. You see that, right? That's how you find a full moon in a chart. The moon always opposite the sun. And also take a look at your birth chart. What do you have around the 9th degree of Sagittarius? And you can also think about the mutable signs in general. So around those degrees, Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces as well. Pay extra attention to that area of your chart because this full moon will be strongly activating it, especially if you have planets there. First of all, before we talk about Sagittarius, let's talk about what full moons are about. Full moons are associated with revelations. Sometimes you'll hear this, people talking about how full moons are time where we have revelations, and there's a lot of emotional intensity as well. But what's really happening at a deeper level is that the full moon is the climax moment of the lunar cycle. So think about how the moon is at her fullest. She is pregnant with light, and with life. And the more light we have in the sky, the more think about how when there's more light in the sky, it illuminates things for us down here, right? We're able to see more clearly. We're able to see more. The more light we have in the literal sense, but also in the symbolic sense as well. The more light, the more we can perceive, the more we can see, the more we can connect the dots and gain more awareness and realize things that may have previously escaped our attention. So think of May 31st as a powerful moment for insight, for clarity, for new realizations and new understandings, and also for truth coming to the surface, especially in Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is all about truth. And the themes that are being illuminated by this full moon are very connected to that Sagittarian quest for meaning. Sagittarius is the great seeker, the philosopher, the traveler, in many ways, that eternal student of life. It's the sign that wants to expand beyond limitations. Sag does not want to feel limited. It wants to go out there. It wants to explore what else is possible outside of the familiar, outside of what we already know, what we have already experienced. So Sagittarius also rules knowledge, wisdom, travel, spirituality, and religion, higher education as well, and our belief system, the things that we believe to be true, the things that we believe to be true about ourselves, the things that we believe to be true about the world. It also speaks about freedom. That's why it has to do with, getting out of the house and experiencing and really feeling like there is space and there's movement. Sagittarius is also about vision, and it's about growth through experiences. So it's an archetype that connects us to the bigger picture and the deeper meaning that we can extract from experiences. So during this full moon, one really great sentence for us to have in our pockets is, What truth am I ready to see? Sagittarius energy is naturally very future oriented because it wants movement and expansion and possibility. And it connects us to the vision, the vision and the hope and the faith that something more amazing is coming our way. And it really reminds us that life is not meant to stay small, it's not meant to stay stagnant or confined in any way. So, this full moon may bring to you, again, as I mentioned, realizations about beliefs, about your worldview, and a desire for freedom, a desire to expand more. This can be also important conversations or truths surfacing, new realizations that are coming up, things that you had noticed before, had access to that before, are now available to you. You might feel a new sense of clarity about the direction your life is taking, or maybe the next step to take. And you may also feel inspired to travel, inspired to explore something new, inspired to learn something new. And also, Sagittarius speaks about spiritual insight. So, this is a time where you can feel, where you can access or experience new spiritual insights, or even just some sort of a philosophical reflection about life, about something that's been going on for you. So, for many of us, this lunation may feel very inspiring, very hopeful, very optimistic. It can feel like a wave of possibility and excitement, and in many ways, renew faith in the future that might emerge during this day. For other people, this full moon may actually change your outdated beliefs, anything that might be too rigid, rigid perspectives, limiting narratives, stories that you might have outgrown, because ultimately Sagittarius wants growth. And growth sometimes require us to leave behind old ways of doing life, of seeing life, of doing things. And Sagittarius wants to expand whatever it touches, which can be really beautiful and inspiring and fun and liberating. But here's the big but. It can also lead to excess, overindulgence, impulsiveness, and exaggeration. So it's the territory of too much. So I think it's a good idea to be extra mindful around those themes. Anything that takes you to that territory of the over, too much, overcommitting, over consuming, overeating, recklessness, anything that takes you to the extreme, or even promises that realistically cannot be sustained, where you're being moved by hope and optimism and excitement. But we also must be careful and must check in to see if whatever we're doing or signing up for is realistically sustainable, right? So this energy wants expansion, yes, but think about it as conscious expansion. Some ideas, some ways to work with this full moon energy. If you are into ritual, one idea is to spend time in nature, spend time outdoors. You can do a ritual around fire. Sagittarius is a fire sign. And Sagittarius has a really strong connection to the natural world, to adventure, to movement. So this is a great activity to do that day, do something different, take a risk, learn something new, book the ticket, explore a new perspective, say yes to an experience that feels exciting and that ultimately expands you, expands your world. This is also a great day to reconnect with your vision for the future. Dream bigger. Dream big and then dream a little bigger or a lot bigger. And a great activity, a great ritual could be doing a meditation or a visualization, bringing the imagination to what you want to create in your life, and allowing yourself to imagine beyond your current limitations, whatever that means to you. And finally, I also want to say it's a great question to ask ourselves that day and to pay attention to whatever life is revealing, whatever this full moon is revealing to us. What truth is my soul trying to reveal to me right now? What is this full moon illuminating? The ruler, by the way, the ruler of this full moon is Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So the ruler of this full moon in Sag is currently moving through the sign of Cancer. Jupiter has been in Cancer since last year. And in less than a month, Jupiter is going to move into the sign of Leo. So the collective atmosphere will change quite significantly because Jupiter in Cancer is a very internal energy. It's all about family, emotional healing. It's about the home. It's about belonging and nourishment and protection and emotional security. And it's a very heart-centered quality at the highest expression of this energy. So this is a very soft and more emotional quality underneath this Sagittarius fire right now. This full moon. Yes, it is about, like I said, going outside the house and having external realizations, but it's also about emotional wisdom and hopefully helping us to understand what truly nourishes us, what feels emotionally aligned, and what your soul, where and how your soul genuinely feels at home. So, Sagittarius is not just about finding collecting information, but it's also about finding wisdom through lived experience. So pay attention to what is being illuminated in your life on May 31st. And something very important might finally click into place. So pay attention. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. And I will hopefully see you next time very soon in the next video.